You better know the difference between activity and results. You don't get paid on activity, busy work. You get paid on results. I've been an entrepreneur for 50 plus years. I'm also a workaholic. And I've learned the hard way of being busy and having ideas and no results. Spent a lot of money on projects and efforts that never returned an investment. It's getting harder and harder as I get older because cash is king. So I don't know if you're listening to me as an entrepreneur or a wannabe entrepreneur, an employee, or a retiree. I want you to understand something. Cash is king. You hear that cliche all the time, right? I've been hearing it from my father for 71 years. He's 100, I'm 71, and I keep hearing it even to this day. Well, I got a wake-up call today. Everybody knows that the stock market's down. Nobody knows what's going on with tariffs and the stock market and so on. As everybody says, don't look at it. Don't look at the results. Well, guess who's looking at the results? The bankers, the mortgage brokers, the real estate people, the interest rates. I have to shift a lot of shit going on, man. Why? Because it's not your credibility anymore. It's your collateral. It's your collateral. So let's go back to activity versus results. Why are there so many people unemployed right now? Is it because of the past? But people are looking at the future. Guess what the future is? It's uncertain. Not only financially. We don't know what's going on with all these countries and the tariffs. There's a lot of talk, a lot of fake news. But I'll tell you, people are nervous. And that's what this video is about. It's that, once again, you got to take care of yourself. I'm in a position right now where I got to respond to the bank. Who's my partner? The bank. I have no other equity partners except me and Uncle Sam. I just ended up handling my tax returns. I submitted my taxes for 2024. 2025 is going to look worse. Guess what came up? My line of credit discussion came up. They want to renew my contract. My contract is usually 5 years. I remember asking my father for a loan, and he goes, and he knew that I was a network guy, and he knew I had connections. And he said, you know what, Rock? Why don't you go talk to your friends and see what kind of money they'll loan you? Guess what I found out? I had no friends. It's not the bank, man. It's not the bank. I'm talking about the bankers that you've dealt with. I mean, talk to the credit card people. Take a look at the interest rates, what happened to them in the last 12 months, 6 months. Oh, yeah, there's a lot of offers out there. But go take a look at your credit report. I have no thoughts about a credit report because I don't need one. I never thought about it because I've always been liquid and I don't invest in anything I don't have because everything's a gamble. The subject is activity or results. Ask yourself, because if you're employed, your employer is looking at you. And the shareholders are looking at you. You're going to have to produce results. It's not talk anymore. People don't have time for talk. It's about results. I've always said this. There's only 2 reasons why you're being employed. The opportunity to be employed is revenue generation, sales. And number 2, what solution are you going to provide, or what have you provided? It's not about the past. It's about the future. What if that solution is no longer needed? What if there's a change in plans with the business that you're working with? What if they've adapted or pivoted like I'm doing? I'm pivoting. I went from my traditional businesses of mergers and acquisitions and brokerage. I'm now an author. I'm on social media. I'm trying to create additional income streams besides what I've built in 50 years. Because it's over. It's over. No one's going to hire me. I'm going to be too expensive because I know my value. I could provide both revenue and solutions. But nobody wants to invest in that because most entrepreneurs are scared shitless of the future because their wealth is declining as we speak, as I speak. The government, interest rates, tariffs, economic warfare is not only the world, it's us. And it goes down to the little guy like me. So now I have to go to the bank and prove that I have additional assets than what they've used for collateral over the last 30 years, 40 years. I've been independent. I'm planning for a loss. But I'm planning to the point where it's not going to hurt me. To the point where I'm going for the long term. And I'm 71 years old, and I'm still going for the long term. You never know what's going to happen. My father's been retired since 65. 65, he's been retired. 35 years of Social Security. And he hasn't looked back. And he also gave me a tip, Rock, when you have the full benefit, grab it while you can. No, Dad, I'm going to wait till I'm 70 and get that extra kicker. I took it at 66 when I was a full Social Security recipient. And it paid off because it's scary out there. I did better in those last 4 years anyway because the market did. Okay? Talk is cheap. And it's getting even worse now because you really have to produce the results. I talked to people in their 60s and they're being laid off and they're looking for work. Many of them aren't going back. That's the bottom line. They're changing segments, jobs. I know one guy that was an MBA, was fed up with what he was doing, couldn't get a job, had 250 resumes out there, nothing happening. And he decided to go work at Target on the third shift as a forklift driver in the interim to have something. And it took another 2 years before he got a job. And it was minimal. So I'm telling you, man, it's not easy out there. Do you see why I'm looking at Vietnam? I'm looking at doubling my assets when I'm over there because the cost is a third to a half of what it is in the U.S. Thank God I used my pillars of success. And you got to look at those YouTubes. I'm putting everything on YouTube. I'm on TikTok like crazy. And I'm earning business compensation for these YouTubes. Yeah. I'm earning this. So every day I'm generating at least one TikTok and one lengthy YouTube. I started in September. I got serious in September at 70 years old, and now I'm 71. And you know what? It's a lot of work, man. To even qualify, I had to hire people to get me there. Okay? I work with consultants. So I have a base. Thank God I'm incorporated. So I've done all the pillars of success. The number one is foundation and mastery. I'm not a master at this. I got the foundation, though. I got the foundation. I know how to start up a business. I know how to run a business. I know how to incorporate. I know how to generate sales. But my solutions are usually provided by a professional that's in that marketplace. And guess what? I have to retain them and pay them to get me up to speed. But the marketing and network and my brand, Rock LaManna, no one else can do that but me. No one else. And that's where you're at. You know how they're talking about, oh, you got to do a YouTube. Everybody can do a YouTube, and you could do it on any subject you want. Yeah, but you know what? A lot of it's luck, man. A lot of it's luck. And I don't know where I'm going to go, but you know what? To me, it keeps me relevant. It keeps me in current events. It keeps me going. So that's where I'm at. I opened this up about talk versus results. No talk. I got a buddy that is in the paper industry. He was let go multiple times over the last 10 years. Always looking for new opportunities, but he's still a go-go. But he's in his 60s. He's motivated. He's got skills. And he's got a unique situation. He's more or less a technical person. He's not really a sales guy. He's a technical. What's he providing? He's providing a solution. So he applied, and there were over 600 applicants. He was probably the oldest guy there because he was told. And private equity, it was a family office, interviewed him more than once. He said, Rock, it was so, what should I say, stressful, because he was competing with the cream of the crop. But what they didn't have is experience. And they were afraid to hire a guy in his 60s. So they brought him on YouTube, and there was like a committee interviewing him. And that 650 candidates were down to like 250, and then it went down to 10. I mean, can you imagine? It was like a multi-year interview, because they're opening up a facility, a paper mill in Europe. They needed somebody that got some experience, knowledge, and so on. So he told me that his resume was not a resume. It was a PowerPoint. That's how old this guy is. He provided a PowerPoint to impress them, not with, hey, this is what I do for sports, this is what I do as references. No. He had a multi-page, multi-deck of achievements over those last 20 years. This is what I did. Bullet. And explained each one. And there were 6 people besides himself on this Zoom call. By the way, they don't relocate you or ship you out and so on. No. Today it's all Zoom and resume. But they were so intrigued by the way he was going about it that they gave him a shot. That's all you need is an opportunity. And that's the kind of person I am. There's many people that don't like my approach, don't like my style. I'm very direct, as you can see. But you know what? Once people meet me, they know I'm going to get the job done. I close these deals. My batting average is better than anybody else that I know. And I've shifted. In my 50-year career, I've had 8 different businesses. Each one of them had a startup, and each one of them had an exit, a strategic exit. That's where I'm at now with YouTube and TikTok. It's very strategic. I have people in Vietnam working with me. I've had people in Bangladesh, all research. And then I have people in the United States that have been with me for years, know my style, and the only reason why I hire them and retain them, they get shit done. They provide solutions. Not sales, solutions. I could go month to month, and when that project is done, I move on. Sometimes I outgrow some people. And my clients are looking for different solutions. So I have to shift, but I know people. And when I know people, people take my call. But not everybody wants to go to work. And so I always work under the 3 T's. Number 1 T, trust. Do I trust this potential client? Do I trust this person to get the job done? Then I go to transparency. Are they transparent? Are they honest or dishonest? That's another clue. And then last T, I call timeline. Does it work within my timeline, the buyer's timeline, the client's timeline? Do they have the right team? That's the other thing that a lot of entrepreneurs don't do. They don't pick the right team. Look at Trump. He's got to pick the right team. Is this team different than Presidency 45? Damn right it is. And it's going to keep changing. Are you adapting in your business? Are you pivoting right now? How about personally? Don't forget, entrepreneurs have a personal life too. And it's scary if there's no income. And it's scary if you can't take care of your clients or your employees or your suppliers and they leave. That's what happened at my bank. They leave in bunches because they see the writing on the wall. Oh my God, this is changing. I got to get out of here. So you have to predict too your timeline. You got to watch what's going on. You got to watch what your boss is doing. You got to watch what the owner's doing. You got to watch. My mother used to say to me, to all us 11 kids, you got to watch. You got to watch. Since we were little kids. And when I was adult, long ago, I would say in my 40s or 50s, I would say to my mother as she was aging, I would pick her up on Saturdays for donuts and coffee or whatever. She loved to go to the Goodwill and share her gifts. And she loved talking to people. I mean, if anybody was a salesperson, it was my mom. Because she loved unconditionally. You know? So I would ask my mom, well, Mom, you know what do you mean by you got to watch? You know what her answer was? You got to watch everything. And I knew right away what she meant. And that's my life now. You got to watch everything. You got to watch your food. You got to watch your health. You got to watch your finance. You got to watch your kids. You got to watch your grandchildren. You got to watch the world. You got to watch your employer. I mean, come on. Are we watching our government? At the end of the day, you're going to die. That's another one my dad would say. Eventually, everything comes to an end. He wouldn't add, including life. At 100, you know, my dad, I don't think my dad's worried about death at 100. He's more worried about losing his mind, his mental ability. And I don't blame him. My mother passed at 94 with no diseases. That's a blessing. And my mother and father, yes, it's true, storybook. They're in separate rooms, independent living, 2-bedroom, 2-bath. The nurses call my father in to say goodbye to my mother. They kissed each other. My mother said, see you in heaven. And she was gone. She was gone. It was 2020. My dad's also beat that stat of living another close to 5 years after a long-term marriage of 74 years, and you still survive after your spouse. That's unbelievable. So you better start looking at results. Know your value. I've always say, know your value. Well, guess what? Know your results. That's your background. That's your brand. People know who you are. People know who you are. Your credibility, your reputation. And look at some places it doesn't hold up. I'm talking to a banker I've never met right now, and they sent me an agreement and said, Brock, We got to review this. I'm like, hold it. I've been with you for 40 years. They don't know that shit. They don't know. They don't know what's going to happen. They're worried about their job. Believe me, people are worried about their job. And people hide. Eventually it's going to happen. Eventually it's going to happen where it does come to an end. My brother-in-law just retired. No watch. No. If there's any severance, you still have to sign off that you're not going to sue anybody. Everybody's protecting themselves. Everyone. The banks, our government, people. It's tough out there, man. That's what it is. It's not about talk. It's not about achievements. It's about results. You got to document those results. And you got to come up with solutions. If you're out of work and you got to provide something to somebody, you better find out what their problem is. And you could also get a bad reputation if you get picked up and if you don't provide that solution. Where are you going to go after that if you fail? So another one of the things that I always say, my mantra is make sure you pick the right horse. You could pick the wrong employer. You could pick the wrong horse. You could pick the wrong spouse. You could pick the wrong whatever. Be careful. So anyway, that's this session. I need to go out there and just remind you. I know I bring bad news, but you know what? It's the truth. That's my approach. And that's why I'm face to face. I've been told, Rock, I like the way you, as if you're talking right to me. Yeah, I'm at the picnic table talking to you. Put the glasses on. Why? It's part of my brand. I'm in Florida. I got cataracts and I look into it and I don't want to show my eyes anyway as I get older. So anyway, I always talk about know your value, keep your promises, and always bring joy. This is Rock. I'll talk to you soon. God bless.